talking about Dutch public transport.
Interesting choice, because their system isn't just about efficiency.
Right.
Though that's a huge part of it. It
Yeah.
reflects a much deeper cultural mindset.
Okay, before we get philosophical, set the scene for us.
Sure.
What's the deal with public transport in the Netherlands?
Okay.
We've all heard about the trains, but
Yeah.
what else is there?
Imagine this. A network so extensive, it's like a spider web connecting every corner of the country.
Wow.
Trains, yes, but also buses, trams, metros, all meticulously woven together.
Okay.
And it's not just for big city dwellers.
Right.
This system is designed to whisk you away from the heart of Amsterdam to those storybook villages you see on postcards.
Yeah.
Seamlessly.
Seamlessly, huh?
Yeah.
So no deciphering bus routes with a frustrated look on my face.
Ideally, no. The Dutch take their punctuality very seriously.
Okay.
Our source even quotes a local saying,
Yeah.
"If the train is late, something must be seriously wrong."
Wow.
It's almost unheard of.
Wow, talk about efficiency.
Right.
I'm already feeling calmer just thinking about it. But let's get practical for a second.
Okay.
Our source keeps mentioning this OV chip cart. What's the deal with that? Is it some high-tech gadget?
Not quite as sci-fi as it sounds, thankfully.
Yeah.
Think of it as your all-access pass to this amazing public transport network.
Right.
Instead of fumbling with tickets, you just tap on and tap off.
Sounds simple enough, but what makes this little card so special?
Well, aside from the obvious convenience, it's about more than just getting from A to B.
Okay.
See, when you use the OV chip cart, you're moving through the Netherlands the way locals do.
Right.
It's like a subtle signal that says, "I'm one of you," which can enhance the entire travel experience.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about blending in. Instead of being the frazzled tourist,
Right.
you're navigating the system with ease.
Absolutely. But to clarify, there are different types of OV chip cards. You've got anonymous cards, which are great for short trips.
Okay.
And then there are personal cards, which offer more flexibility and discounts if you're a frequent traveler.
Good to know.
No.
Now, about those discounts,
Mm-hmm.
our source mentions that Dutch public transport can seem a bit pricey, especially for longer distances.
That's a common perception, especially for visitors.
Right.
But to understand the cost, you have to look at the value.
Okay.
Many Dutch people see public transport as an investment. They're paying for reliability, for the freedom to arrive on time every time,
Right.
and for the peace of mind that comes with not battling traffic.
That's an interesting way to look at it. It's not just about the fare itself,
Right.
but what that fare represents.
Right.
It's like paying for a stress-free commute.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And if you dig a little deeper, you'll find that the Netherlands offers a range of travel passes and discounts tailored to different needs.
Okay.
So whether you're a student, a frequent commuter, or just planning a few day trips, there's likely an option to make it more affordable.
Okay, so it's not as simple as just glancing at a ticket price.
Right.
There's a whole system to explore. But let's be real, even with perfect timing,
Yeah.
aren't those trains jam-packed during rush hour?
Even in the Netherlands, you can't escape the laws of rush hour physics.
Right.
But I think there's something fascinating about those moments,
Oh.
observing how people navigate the crowds, the unspoken etiquette. It's like a glimpse into the real heartbeat of Dutch society.
It's funny you should say that because our source actually mentions that this hustle and bustle is just part of the fabric of daily life there.
Right.
Like it's not something to be avoided,
Yeah.
but rather an experience in itself.
Exactly.
But speaking of experiences, this efficient system must contribute to a greener lifestyle,
Sure.
which the Dutch are known for, right?
Yeah.
You're spot on. The Netherlands takes sustainability seriously,
Yeah.
and their public transport system is a prime example. What kind of green initiatives are we talking about?
Well, for starters, they're investing heavily in electric buses and trains.
Okay.
And we're not just talking about a handful of pilot programs.
Right.
They've set ambitious goals to transition a significant portion of their public transport fleet to electric power in the coming years.
Okay, so they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Right.
But how does that actually translate to a greener experience for the everyday commuter?
Imagine stepping onto a sleek, modern tram, knowing that your journey is powered by renewable energy. It's not just about reducing emissions,
Right.
It's about shifting the entire mindset around transportation.
It's like sending a message that sustainability isn't some abstract concept.
Right.
It's something tangible that you're actively participating in every time you choose the train over the car.
Exactly.
But what about accessibility? We touched on this earlier, and I'm curious to learn more. How are they making sure the system works for everyone?
That's a key point. Accessibility isn't just about ramps and elevators, though those
Yeah.
are obviously crucial.
Yeah.
It's about making the entire system user-friendly and inclusive for everyone, regardless of their abilities.
Okay.
And while it's a work in progress, the Netherlands is making strides in this area.
Give us some specifics. What kinds of initiatives are they implementing?
While many stations are equipped with tactile paving and audio announcements to assist visually impaired travelers.
Okay.
They're also working on improving signage and providing clear, concise information in multiple languages.
Those details might seem small, but they can make a huge difference in someone's travel experience.
Absolutely. And it's not just about physical accessibility.
Okay.
The Netherlands is also focused on making their public transport system affordable for everyone.
Right.
They offer discounted fares for senior students and people with disabilities, ensuring that everyone has access to reliable and affordable transportation.
That makes sense. Accessibility isn't just about being able to physically get on a train.
Right.
It's about ensuring that everyone can afford to use the system in the first place.
Exactly. And when you have a system that's designed with everyone in mind,
Right.
it fosters a sense of community, a shared understanding that everyone deserves access to efficient and reliable transportation.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, with all this talk of efficiency and sustainability,
Yeah.
is there ever a sense of, joy in Dutch public transport? Or is it all business?
That's a great question.
Right.
It's easy to get caught up in the practicalities,
Right.
but at the end of the day, travel should be enjoyable. What's the vibe like?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because while the Dutch system is certainly efficient, there's also a certain charm to it.
Okay.
A sense of community that you don't always find in other major cities.
Okay, paint me a picture.
Okay.
I'm on a train leaving Amsterdam, heading to, say, Utrecht.
Okay.
What am I seeing, hearing, feeling?
Well, picture this. You're settled into your seat. The gentle rocking of the train lulling you into a state of relaxed alertness.
Okay.
Out the window, the scenery transforms from bustling cityscapes to picturesque countryside, dotted with windmills and grazing cows.
Sounds idyllic. But what about the atmosphere inside the train? Are people mostly glued to their phones? Or is there a sense of shared experience?
It's a mix, really. You'll see people engrossed in books, catching up on work, or simply gazing out the window, lost in thought. But you'll also notice a quiet hum of conversation, a sense of shared purpose, as strangers momentarily become travel companions.
It's like that unspoken bond you form with people when you're all heading in the same direction.
Right.
Even if you never exchange a word.
Exactly. And while the Dutch aren't exactly known for their boisterous conversations with strangers, there's a certain politeness, a quiet consideration for others that permeates the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You might see someone offering their seat to an elderly passenger, or parents gently reminding their children to keep their voices down.
So there's a sense of community even amidst the efficiency. I like it.
Yeah.
But let's be real. No system is perfect.
Right.
Our source mentioned the Dutch take their public transport very seriously.
Yeah.
Does that ever lead to any downsides?
Well, some might argue that the emphasis on punctuality and efficiency can sometimes feel a bit, shall we say, inflexible.
Right.
Delays and disruptions do happen, as with any system,
Sure.
but they're not always met with the same level of understanding that you might find in other cultures.
So don't expect a round of applause if the train's 5 minutes late.
Probably not.
Right.
But it's all part of the charm, wouldn't you say? Yeah. This dedication to running on time is a testament to their commitment to a well-functioning system.
Okay.
However, there is a valid point to be made about the affordability of fares,
Yeah.
especially for those who rely on public transport for their daily commute.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have a fantastic public transport system,
Right.
but it needs to be accessible to everyone, not just those who can afford it.
Absolutely. And that's an ongoing conversation in the Netherlands, just like in many other countries.
Right.
How do you balance the need for a robust and well-maintained system with ensuring that it remains affordable and accessible to all?
It's a delicate balancing act, for sure. But overall, it sounds like the Dutch are doing a pretty impressive job of creating a public transport system that's both efficient and enjoyable.
I think so.
It does make you wonder, though. Could other countries replicate this? What's the secret sauce?
Right.
Is it just about throwing money at the problem?
If only were that simple.
Right.
It's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
The Netherlands has made significant investments in infrastructure, yes,
Right.
but it's also about long-term planning and a cultural shift. There's a sense of collective responsibility,
Yeah.
a recognition that a well-functioning public transport system benefits everyone.
So it's not just about building bigger and better trains.
Right.
It's about changing the way people think about transportation in general.
Exactly. It's about seeing public transport not as a last resort, but as a viable, even preferable alternative to private cars.
Right.
And that requires a commitment not just from the government,
Right.
but from society as a whole.
That makes sense. You could have the most efficient trains in the world,
Right.
but if people still see driving as the ultimate symbol of freedom and convenience,
Sure.
it's going to be tough to change habits.
It's a challenge, no doubt.
Right.
But the Netherlands shows us that it's possible
Okay.
by consistently investing in their public transport system and promoting its benefits.
Right.
They've created a culture where taking the train or the tram is simply the norm.
And that, I think, is the key takeaway here. It's
Yeah.
not just about the technology or the infrastructure. It's about the mindset.
Right.
It's about seeing public transport not as a chore, but as a way of life.
Absolutely.
And who knows, maybe if more of us adopted that perspective,
Yeah.
we might start to see some real change in the world.
I'd raise a glass to that. Imagine cities designed around people, not cars,
Yeah.
where the air is cleaner, the streets are quieter, and people are more connected.
It's a beautiful vision, and one that the Netherlands seems to be moving towards.
Mm.
So the next time you find yourself planning a trip,
Okay.
consider taking a page from the Dutch playbook. Skip the rental car, grab yourself an OV chip card,
Oh,
and dive headfirst into the world of Dutch public transport.
you might be surprised at what you discover.
Right.
And who knows, you might even find yourself feeling a little bit smug when that train arrives exactly on time.
Exactly. And with that image of perfectly synchronized train travel in mind, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explore the ins and outs of Dutch public transport, a system that's efficient, sustainable, and, dare I say, even a little bit joyful. Until next time, happy travels.